Hello everybody and welcome to free UFC bet picks. Thanks for tuning in today. In this video we are going to go over week 9 of Dana White's Contender series. That's happening this Tuesday, November 10th. Before we get into that, we do want to announce our winner for a free bet. So if you watched our last video, it was the post weigh-in videos for last week's fights. And we told you guys how you could enter for that. All you had to do was like and comment on the video, so super easy to enter there. We've got all the commenters in a little raffle bucket here, and we'll get the drawing going here. And last week, you want to talk about last week's?
Yeah, last week Jonathan Sawyer won a $25 free bet. He did a really great parlay with Xiaonan Gedalia over 2.5, which was a smart bet, and that hit. He did the Bozer money line, Giga money line, Alexander Romanov inside the distance. So Bozer got him like a lot of us, but Jonathan, thank you for your support. That post weigh-in video was just money. We gave you a couple free client picks. Xiaonan by decision we had already talked about, but we talked about Xiaonan live bet. So after Gedalia likely wins the first round, Xiaonan would either be a huge underdog or pick 'em, and so the first round was pretty even. You know, the line was pretty much a pick 'em after round 1. Great value on Xiaonan, so that was amazing.
Absolutely.
We said the same thing was likely going to happen for Glover. Glover actually had a decent first round. It was back and forth like the whole fight. That whole fight was just wild back and forth. But so Glover's line had actually become a little bit more even after the first round. It was more of a pick 'em because he was a 2-1 dog to start. But Glover inside the distance cashed. The other client pick was Brennan Allen moneyline, which was just great value. He was for sure going to beat Ian Heinisch.
Yeah.
Easy to say, but you know, we were very confident in that. A lot of folks know that we were all over Brennan Allen, and he's got a big fight coming up this weekend now against Sean Strickland, so super excited about that.
Yeah.
This week's winner, AWPPABC. AWPPABC. So, AWPPABC, hit us up, and congrats, and thanks for watching, and hope you made some of those bets from the post weigh-in video because they were money.
Yeah. All right, before we get into this week's fights, there's 5 fights on the card, really exciting fights here. Last week, all 4 of the Contender Series winners were favorites. They were all 4 by knockout, and all 4 guys got offered UFC contracts. So pretty exciting week in the Contender Series last week. Very excited to see all those guys fight in the UFC in the future.
Israel Adesanya was there, you know, supporting Carlos Olberg. It was a really great, Wednesday night Contender Series last week because it was on, because the election's Tuesday. But we're back to Tuesday this week, so make sure you get your bets in tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, let's get right into these here. First up, we've got a bantamweight fight between Danny, the Italian gangster, Sabatto, versus Taylor.
Sabatto.
Put some music in it.
Gorlami.
Danny is our favorite here at minus 580. He was the bantamweight champion of the Titan FC. And he is 8-1. His full record is 8-1. Majority of his wins are in the first round. And actually, his only loss was like the end of the 4th round. He went like almost to the 5th round and got knocked out. So you could tell, like, when he went that 4-round fight, you could tell he was gassed. Like, all of his wins are so early on that he's not great at lasting in the later rounds. He likes to spend all of his energy right up front. He is a really fun fighter to watch. He's really great at setting up his shots, and I've noticed if this guy gets you down, it's almost impossible to get back up from him. He's got really great ground control. And Taylor Moore, our underdog, at plus 405. His record is 10-4. I don't really know what to think about this guy. His amateur record is amazing. His amateur record is 16-1. But as far as his professional career so far, it's just been kind of hit or miss. When he hits, he hits. He's got a lot of KOs. He's got a lot of unanimous decisions. He's coming off of a 3-fight win streak right now. 3 like pretty solid wins too. So I don't know. I think his only chance is to try to survive past the first round, to try to make this go the distance and wear Danny out, because that's his only chance at anything here. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, he really doesn't have much of a chance. I agree. Sabatello, that was a tough fight against Irwin Rivera, who, we know who's a UFC fighter. He's not a great UFC fighter, but, we've seen Rivera during the pandemic era. Sabatello is very technical. He's bouncy. He's great, great footwork, just bouncing around in there, throwing heavy low kicks. When he wrestles, he will chain wrestle. He doesn't get discouraged off the first, stuff. He will, if he's going for your takedown, he's getting you down.
Right.
Taylor Moore is like the bigger dude here, but he gets taken down as well. His last fight, he got a 3rd round triangle, but he'd been taken down a bunch before he finally pulled off that submission. It says they're both 5'10", but at the stare downs today at the weigh-ins, unless Taylor Moore was in Skechers and Sabatello was in, barefoot, I don't think they're both 5'10". And she called it, Sabatello looked really good until he got gassed against Rivera. That was in the 4th round, right? Like that's not a concern here. But I don't think Sabatello's really fought anyone but Rivera, and he lost to him. It was in the title fight. Basically, the short story is I think this is too close. There's no way he should be, minus 580. That's Amanda Nunes territory. That's
insane.
Yeah, that's Romanov on Saturday evening after the line's been steamed for a week. Never seen line movement like that. We said early in the week last week that the Romanov line would move and he might be close to minus 500, but he was minus 550 like Friday night. It was pretty wild. This is not going to be that wide of a margin in this fight. Botello is better everywhere. And, I think his cardio will hold up okay. He's a little bit of the leaner fighter here. So Taylor Moore might, with the extra muscle, might gas. I think Sabatello is safe, but he's not adding that much juice. Like, you're tempted to just add him to a parlay. You think, whoever I like Saturday night, I'm going to lock in Sabatello with them and get some free money. Sabatello might be the only, might ruin that for you. He should win, but it's not worth adding him. He's definitely not safe enough to parlay at that wild, wild price. I think there's a safer pick on this card at twice the value. So I really think it's a gas. If you're looking for just like an insane 4-1 dog, I think there's been worse dogs than Taylor Moore. He's got a shot here. He's bigger. He's decently durable, and they're both young. They're both this is a pretty competitive fight. I was surprised by this line, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Apparently, Sabatello believes that he deserves that minus 580. Apparently, when they had the face-off, he said, "How do you want me to finish you tomorrow?"
Yeah.
In that face-off. So that's kind of a... that's like Conor McGregor swagger right there a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. Like Walmart. Yeah, Walmart. It's, yeah.
Just, the crap talking, if you...
Yeah.
Excuse the term. All right, next up we've got a women's strawweight. It's Luana Pinero versus Stephanie Frasto. I'm pretty excited for this one. I watched a lot of Luana Pinero and became a huge fan of hers just over this past week. She's the favorite this week at minus 345. I've been rewatching this brutal armbar that she does against De Souza, and it's not for the squeamish. I'll just say that. But it's a really brutal armbar.
I thought
she tapped long after she should have. I mean, it was rough.
You were watching tape for this fight before me. When that arm was breaking and twisting backwards like that, and I was in the other room, I thought you'd seen a spider. Like it was a pretty.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was a very audible reaction to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like a lot of horror movies and true crime, but I still had to look away at that. That was
when I scrape my arm, she can't look. It's all talk.
Yeah. All right. So where was I here?
Sorry.
Yes. So
Pinero.
Yeah, Pinero. Brutal. She's a great striker. She's got good control on the ground. Like I said, a huge favorite here. She's got a record of 7-1, and her only loss was by a split decision. So, I mean, she's just looking like a pretty good fighter here, a good up-and-comer, and would love to see her be in the UFC. Stephanie Frasto, our underdog here at plus 270. She's got a record of 8-6. Not the most impressive fight history here. But that being said, her last two fights have probably been the most impressive of her career. Both of them have been by KO or TKO in round 2. And she is a big underdog. Well, not compared to that last one, but she is a pretty big underdog here. But I think it'll still be a great matchup between those two. And but I do expect Pinero to win, especially because I've become a little biased and become a fan. And I actually expect her to do it inside the distance too. I expect her to finish Stephanie.
I agree. Pinero's got the edge everywhere. She's 2 inches taller. She's got the reach. She's definitely got improving striking that now is like really solid. Her last fight against Helen Harper or Helen Hunter. I always want to say like Helen Hunt. Helen Harper. She was piecing her up. Helen Harper starts like shooting for a takedown and not sloppy. She was shooting for like a strong takedown. And Pinero sprawled and brawled. Was very heavy on top. Because she started out just kind of with the wrestling and the submission game, that we've been talking about, that she put on poor Charlene D'Souza in her MMA, her pro debut, poor girl.
Yeah. She was tough.
Oh my God, she was tough. If you watch that fight and you'll be like, tough does not do it justice.
Tap out.
Yeah, no, you thought, that ref actually should have stopped it.
Yeah.
Her arm was broken for 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Once you think it's over, it's not over. It's ridiculous. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, so...
Go watch that video.
Yeah. But Pinero that was actually 2017, I think. Pinero's a lot better since then even. It's wild.
Yeah.
Pinero was piecing up Helen Harper. Helen Harper shooting on her. She sprawls and brawls. Harper has to get up from her failed takedown attempt, and when she gets up, she just catches 5 heavy hands and melts her. Absolutely no ground and pound needed. So Pinero, I think Pinero should be the minus 550 favorite on this card. I think Pinero, you parlay right now with some UFC fights this weekend, Freitas or whoever you're leaning towards. I've actually got some underdogs for this card coming up, but. If you like Brennan Allen's a favorite over Sean Strickland. So whatever. We got our video coming out tomorrow for the UFC. It might be Wednesday morning. For Saturday's card. But anyway, Pinero parlay.
Yes.
I think everyone's gonna. Like she said. The bookies got all 4 fights right last week. All 4 favorites won. I don't know if that's going to be the case this week. There's some close picks, so don't go crazy just parlaying all these contender fights necessarily. But Pinero is going to win in a landslide. Absolutely. She's more muscled everywhere. Is it Frausto? Sorry.
Frasto.
Yeah, Frasto has bigger guns, but she's not as shredded. I think she's going to gas rather quickly. She beat... Charissa Segala in her last fight, but it was some of the worst striking you've ever seen. They both had their heads up in the air. Yeah. They both were slowing down. She ends up catching a Segala kick and TKOing her when Segala was not even out. Segala was fishing for a leg lock.
Yeah.
So her last win was not impressive and
not a clean win at all.
No, and it was just so sloppy. Pinero could beat. Charissa Segala and Frasto in the same night. Just give her 15 minutes. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Moving on to this next one here. It's a lightweight bout between Nicholas Mata and Joe Lowry. Lowry is the underdog here at plus 155. He's 9-1. He was actually on the Contender Series in Season 2 and lost in a first-round KO there. He was on an 8-fight win streak before that loss. Then right after that loss, he had a really bad car accident. He was on a 2-year layoff, and he finally fought after that 2-year layoff back in August, and he actually looked really good, really impressive. Won in round 1 with a TKO. And he's going up against Nicholas Mata, who's our favorite at minus 185. He's the lightweight champion of the CFFC. He's got a record of 11-3. He was also an Ultimate Fighter and went 1-1 on Ultimate Fighter. These guys, I thought it was a pretty close matchup, but I don't know if I really have a pick here. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's close too. I'm a little surprised. Mata's a 2-1 favorite almost. He's we got him at minus 185. He does have nice striking. He just kind of walks people down. He'll just throw high kicks with no setup, no jab in front of it. He just throws high kicks and sees how you react. And then he throws another one, and then as you're reacting to that, he likes throwing a high kick, hook combo. that he, in his last fight it was 2 fights ago against Cesar Balmaceda, he beats him in 54 seconds, and it was exactly that. He's just throwing a high kick that barely, like with his toes, glance him a tiny bit, knocks him off balance, and when Balmaceda's standing up, just crazy hook combos it was a pretty vicious knockout. Mata's, I think he is a little more technical everywhere, but Lowry is pretty tough. His only loss that she was describing was to Devontae Smith in the Contender series. Devontae's pretty solid. I think this fight will play out on the feet, which is where Mata wants it and where Lowry kind of has no choice. And I don't think he's going to want to grapple after that loss to Smith. It just wasn't a very strong grappling performance there. His last fight, he knocks the guy out pretty quickly. Pianki Zimmerman. This is a tough fight. There's a lot of unknowns, like you said, with the layoff. His last fight was against a nobody, and he beats him in the first round. I think it was the end of the first round, but there's not, there wasn't a whole lot to learn about that. And, Mata, he's fought good guys. He beat Joe Selecki a few years back, and he beat him in the third round. We like a fighter who doesn't just have to, it's not just first round KO or bust. Like, they can actually fight for a while and still finish later in the fight. A lot of times that means the opponent just got gassed. But, I think if you don't know about anybody, you're just looking at it, minus 185, and you look at their topology, and they look, Mata looks like he has the better resume. Joe Selecki really sticks out at you on there. I think this is going to be a rather close fight. Mata should win, but I'm just kind of staying away overall. And, the thing is, just Mata hasn't really, the Cesar Balmaceda fight, his last fight, that wasn't that impressive. His last fight was I think a unanimous decision win. I don't have it in front of me. And it wasn't, according to my notes, it wasn't anything too juicy from him. So it could be a pass. There's a lot of unknowns, but Mata should win.
Yeah. All right, let's move into our next one here. This is a catchweight fight. We've got a lightweight Shaheen Shazam Santana versus featherweight Natan Levy. So Levy is stepping in to replace Quinones. Levy is actually the favorite at minus 125. He's undefeated, got 5 wins, and he was getting ready to compete at LFA 95. So he hasn't just been slacking. He's been training. He's ready, and that was supposed to happen on the 20th of this month. So, all right, and then he is going up against Santana, the underdog, at plus 105. Santana is also undefeated, 6 wins. 5 of those are by submission. This should be a pretty good matchup here. The stats look exciting. Both of these fighters are exciting to watch, and both undefeated, but one won't be anymore after tomorrow night, and one will probably have a UFC contract. So what do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, it is a tough fight. Natan Levy, they both look great at the weigh-ins. They're both shredded. Natan Levy he's supposed to be a lot smaller than Santana, and he is, but he didn't look like that undersized. They did look, like they're supposed to be fighting at the same weight, even though Natan is a kind of a featherweight and Santana's fought at 155. Natan Levy, I think his resume is a little, neither one of these guys have fought anybody, obviously, but I think Santana's gonna get it. He's the underdog, but I'm picking him because of his wrestling. He gets guys against the cage, and it's like really good grappling. You could tell, he doesn't get too anxious once he's got him against the cage, and he'll just get double unders, and then he's fishing with his legs. He's like getting your back and dragging you down and, choking you out. He can get taken down. 2 wins ago, he got a split win against Lee Lilly, and Lilly was taking him down a few times. It was a really close fight. So both of these guys can get taken down. Natan Levy, he fought a 1-0 Nick Badis. Nick Badis took him down a ton, and Nick's next fight. So he was 1-0. He was a 1-0 fighter fighting against Natan Levy. Takes Natan Levy down a ton. Very close fight. You think, whoa, maybe this Badis guy's a gangster, right? No, in his next fight, he gets round 1 rear naked choked by an absolute nobody. So I think Levy's overrated. I think, and I've seen him struggle with the wrestling on tape. That's Santana's path to victory. Santana's a bigger guy. Santana's the underdog. Cash it.
Yeah. Good call there.
Thanks.
All right. Our main event of the Contender Series is going to be a middleweight bout between Mario Souza versus Mariusz Shashkevich. I hope I said that moderately right. Mariusz
so.
is minus 115. He is 8-0. All but one of those 8 wins were finishes, mostly submissions. Souza is the underdog at minus 115. He's got a record of 11-1. A majority of those are by KO, and he's coming off of a 4-fight win streak right now. So Mariusz is the favorite here, but I don't know. I think this could be a close one. What do you think?
So my bookie has him exactly minus 115, but on
That's right.
but on the other one, I've seen Souza as, but I bet like depending on where you look, you'll see all
Mariusz
three.
was a slight favorite like a few hours ago because
Really?
we just updated these before we started recording, but he
So-
was like a plus 115 or like it was.
So I was seeing Souza as the favorite, and I was picking Mariusz as another very slim underdog. Like I had Mariusz at like even money and Souza minus 120, but it just depends where you look and probably when you look. Mariusz, he's a good grappler. He likes to take the back and rear naked choke you. Some of those rear naked chokes came because of his successful striking, though. So I think it was like Joe Vali a couple fights ago. He, rear nakeds him in a minute. In a minute and 13 seconds, but it was because of some really nice, clean technical striking, and then he's grounding and pounding it, and then the guy rolls over. He's not too sloppy with his takedowns. He closes the distance really well. He likes to throw like a super heavy overhand, get you to react, level change, and go to a single leg takedown. So I think he's pretty safe with. I think he can indeed get the takedown, and I've seen Mario Souza struggle with that. So. Souza, he's going to have a 2-inch height disadvantage, but he fights really long. He fights with technical jabs and straights. He likes to kick. So he fights a little taller and longer than he is. When people rush him with striking, he uses the plum. He'll just get his hands around your neck, and like that's how he kind of just stems the tide for a sec. Staves off that pressure and buys himself some time. When I've seen him do that, then he often just moves straight to the wrestling. So he does a nice job of just grabbing people with kind of a Muay Thai plum and, control and then, keeping the clinch that way and taking them down. But most of the time he likes to strike. His last fight was like 22 seconds, Semi Dos Santos, a couple strikes, Semi starts pressuring him. And it was exactly what I described. Souza just grabs him, slams him, and the slam didn't even seem to knock him out. The slam just seemed to make him 1 out. Like Semi Dos Santos, it was a really poor performance. I don't think there's a whole lot you could take from that. More importantly, 2 fights ago, he had a 5-round title fight lined up against Luis Felipe Diaz. Luis Felipe Diaz is not a very good fighter, and he was on top of Souza the whole fight, ground and pounding him. And then Souza, he was like a thicker guy, really muscled guy. He started just getting gassed. He was just kind of leg lock or bust. He was just fishing for heel hooks and leg locks. So it was kind of just a sloppy grappling situation. Felipe ends up getting on top of him and then getting arm barred, but it was just kind of a weird tap situation, really sloppy grappling. I think, he was just super gassed until Felipe, Diaz got gassed. He was winning the wrestling easily against Souza. I think that is Shashkevich's path to victory. Whew, I'm not saying it again. And we're taking Mariusz as I'm gonna call him another dog because when I was looking, he was a dog.
Yeah, that's crazy. When you were looking, he was the underdog. When I looked 3 hours ago, he was like the slightest favorite, and now it's a pick'em. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and who knows? These lines might move tomorrow, but all of the fighters looked really good at the weigh-ins, really. This was a nice, intense stare down. They didn't look too friendly. I think this is going to be a really exciting fight. But I think, and when these guys do grapple, it's not boring. It's, it's really exciting grappling, but I think Mariusz, in his wrestling, top game should take it.
Yeah. All right, I think that does it. Those are the 5 fights that are going to be on the Contender series on Tuesday, November 10th. Make sure you tune in and watch those fights. Make sure you, smash the like.
Smash the like, yeah. Like Kamzat,
Yes.
yeah. Smash the
And
like
do your
Kamzat.
whole thing.
Yeah, get your bell rung. You want to get your bell rung, so turn on the notifications.
Yes.
You want to comment like Chael Sonnen or Connor or Sean Malley. The
Yeah.
O is gone. And, tap that sub like Charlene de Souza should have tapped much earlier against
Seriously.
Luana Pinero a few years ago.
Yeah.
God, tough woman. I'm going to follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
If she might not,
She just sat there with her arm being broken.
Yeah, so go watch that fight.
Yeah, seriously do. And yes, make sure you do all the things he just said so you don't miss a future video of ours. And we will see you guys in a couple days. We'll be breaking down the fights this weekend. So make sure you tune into that. And thanks for watching.